Hey guys, it's your girl Kamaya, or Kamaya Customs, and I'm back with my third video. If you're new here, thank you for joining me. Thank you for joining the family. Welcome to my channel, baby. If you're supporting me before the world catches on, I love you, I love you, I love you. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Repost, send to a friend. It don't take absolutely nothing to support. Don't be a hater, okay? Sharing is caring. Share this video. Today is going to be starting my how-to series. I'm going to start a series on my channel of how to sew certain garments. I started out with this shirt. Maybe next it'll be pants, dress, whatever. The list is going to go on, but today's going to start the series, so today's going to be part 1. Speaking of sewing, I'm going to be posting some sewing classes that I'm going to be hosting soon. Kamaya's Customs is starting a beginner sewing class. I'm still not too sure on the details yet. I'm just introducing the idea to you guys to let you know what's about to be going on. But be on the lookout for that because that's coming soon. Period. First things first, I'm showing you the fabric choice that I'm using. I'm thinking of using the plaid for the body and then using like the blue type of fabric for the arms, making it like a cutout shirt, you know, just something different, simple, unique. So I'm still new to this YouTube stuff, so I completely forgot to show you me cutting this in half, but this is the sleeves that I just made. So I went ahead and folded the fabric in half so that when I cut it, I have two pieces, a piece for the front of the arm and a piece for the back of the arm. So I'm going to show you in this next clip exactly what I mean by folding it in half so that I have these two pieces when I cut it, but for the most part, here you go. So I'm going to show you right here. This is what I mean by folding it in half. So when you unfold it, you should have one big piece. But I didn't cut it that way. As you see, from the fold crease in the middle, I folded it in half. So now I'm just sizing it up, seeing how it's going to look if I'm to put the sleeve right here. I'm noticing that if I do it this way, there's not a lot of shoulder space or a lot of room for the neck, so it would be really tight. So I don't think I'm going to use this way. I think I'm going to flip it over. Yeah, I think using it horizontally is better because it'll leave more space for the shoulders as well as the neck. The con is that it'll be shorter, so it'll be more on the crop top side, but that's fine. Now, if you don't take anything away from this video, take this. Beginner Sewing 101. Always make sure your fabric is inside out. That means the good sides are facing each other right now. Always when you sew, it's always going to be inside out. Now, before you do anything, notice how I've left that 4-inch gap from the top of the fabric to where the pressure foot is. I did that on purpose. Do not sew that together. So right here, I'm going to sew the front and back together, starting from the space that I showed you. And I'm going to go ahead and sew over it twice just for good practice, because when you cut it, you want to make sure that there are no loose threads. Now that I'm done sewing the front and back together, I'm going to the top of the fabric and I'm going to create that shoulder space that I was talking about. Just follow as you see. When you are done, this is what it should look like. There goes that stitch holding the front and back together, and make sure you went over it twice. And here goes the arm space that you're supposed to be leaving open. Remember, I told you not to sew that together? Yeah, that's for your sleeve. And then you see the top part, that's the shoulder space that I was telling you about. So you should have a little hole. Now grab one of those sleeve pieces, well, halves I should say, because it's two. And we're going to go ahead and sew it together how we did the body. You're going to sew the front and back together. Make sure the fabric is inside out. And make sure to get each side as evenly as possible before you sew, which is what I'm doing right here. This is what it should look like when you're done. This is each side of the sleeve, but this is one sleeve. Remember, I told you to sew over it twice. You sew over everything twice. Best sewing practices, beginner 101. I'm telling you, it's going to save you time later. But this is what it should look like. Now we're going to go ahead and cut along the seam. And what that means is you're going to cut along your stitches, basically. Get as close as you can. Another best practice tip is to cut up as far as you can and then go back in for your second cut so you can get as close to the seam as possible. You want it to be really clean. Now that I've cut along the seam of the sleeve, I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing to the body and that shoulder space that I was telling you about that we sewed earlier. Yeah, we're going to do both of those. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you're done cutting the arm space in the side. I left that little cut right there like that on purpose just because it's easier to see where the neck begins. But this is what you should have when you're finished, the arm space and a nice clean cut on both sides. Okay, so this is where things might get a little complicated. So now we're going to attach the sleeve. Now, I just showed you the side that I'm placing down and the side that's facing up. The good side is facing up. The bad side is facing towards the sewing machine. Okay, let me show you up close one more time. Good side facing you, bad side facing away. Okay, now notice how I have the shoulder of the sleeve, the middle part is in the middle. And I'm going to show you a little more what I mean by that by showing you this piece right here. So here goes the sleeve, all right. And I'm going to take the sleeve and attach it so that the middle of the shoulder is in the middle of the sleeve. It's kind of hard to explain, but I'm going to show you what I mean right here. Okay, so boom, look. Here's the sleeve, here's the body, here's the shoulder. Now you see how the middle of the shoulder, that's the middle of the shoulder where those two pieces of fabric combine, is in the middle of the sleeve. Let me show you one more time, okay? The middle of the shoulder right here, boom, is in the middle of the sleeve, okay? And also make sure that the top half of the sleeve is connected to the top half of the body or shoulder. The bottom half of the sleeve is going to connect to the sides of the shirt. Like, it's kind of difficult to explain, but when you see the finished product, I think you'll be able to put two and two together. Okay, boom. This is what it should look like when you're done attaching the sleeve to the body. You see how the top half of the fabric is attached to the top part of the shirt, coming down to the sides. It's connected, you know, you see it better than I can explain it, you know. That's what I meant by putting two and two together. That's the front and this is the back, you know, same thing. You see how the middle part of the sleeve is in the middle of the shirt, of the shoulder? Yeah. And now we're going to go ahead and finish sewing that down. Okay, and this is what it should look like when you're done sewing that sleeve on. These two pieces are the sleeves and they're connecting onto the body. I'm going to show you a little better. Let me get a better angle. But you see, what I'm really showing you is how the two sides of the sleeves are not connected to the body at all. They're free. That's what I'm showing you, that space in between. Like, it's hard to describe, but you see how the body can move freely. It's not attached to either side. Yeah. Now, those sleeves that you created have extra fabric space now, so now you have to cut along the seam allowance. So you're going to do the same thing that you did for the body, the shoulder, everything else, and you're going to go ahead and cut that extra fabric, but make sure that you went over it twice. This is what it's supposed to look like when it's done, a nice clean cut, as you see. Boom, boom, boom. Now I'm just checking to see if the shoulders are even. You know, you can't have one shoulder longer than the other or it's going to show when you put it on. So I'm just making sure that's straight. Life update. Let's get into it. I'm going to give you the rundown of what I've been doing since November. So I dropped this new set, a part of my Summer Forever collection, and this is the basic Barbie jacket with the jump off first set. December 18th, I attended my first pop-up shop. Oh my goodness, it was so exciting and thrilling. It was very successful for me. I walked away with the biggest smile on my face. Boom, here you go. I'm about to show you. Yeah, that was my mood after the pop-up shop. It just went like so much better than expected. Then there was Christmas. The biggest part of Christmas this year was my baby opening her gifts. This is really my child, y'all. Like, y'all don't understand. Like, this put the biggest smile on my face. This was the most exciting part of Christmas for me. By the way, this is Blue, everyone. For those of you who don't know who I'm talking about, who's making all the noise in the background. Yeah, this is her, my spoiled baby. By the way, I got a Keurig machine for Christmas. Exciting. December 26th was my mom's birthday. We went to Poppy Cuisine in Baltimore. 10 out of 10, you have to go. January 5th was my great uncle's funeral. We laid him to rest. Thank God he's no longer suffering. Yes. My brother and sister got married. Oh my goodness. One of the most beautiful things I've ever witnessed. I love, and I love being a part of it. Congratulations to them. Next up, client reviews. Look at these custom stack bottoms that I did. Custom cutie on duty. Don't play with her. She is not one of them. Fur baby matching set. And honey, she ate no crumbs. This is my first public review, which made me feel really good about myself because, I mean, look. Also been working on my collaboration, so stay tuned for that because that's coming really soon. I launched my official store page at Shop K's Customs. I relaunched my official website at K's Customs with 2S's.com. What website you know let you use Cash App? None of them except mine. Stop playing. Let's go. Alright, that concludes my life update. That's all that has happened since November. Now let's jump back into this how-to video. Okay, so right now we have one half of the shirt done, one arm attached. Now you have to go ahead and do the exact same steps for the other side. First, I'm going to create that sleeve, and boom, I run into a problem. Look how freaking tight this sleeve is. Nobody's arm is fitting in this. So I didn't record this at a good angle at all, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut that long sleeve that we attached in half to make it short sleeve, and this is what it looks like when I'm done. Now, after you sew the front and back together and create that shoulder space on the other side, just like we did the first side, you're going to go ahead and attach that sleeve. This is what it should look like when you're done. You should have a shirt with 2 short sleeves on there because the long sleeve didn't work out. So, you got to finesse. You got to do what you got to do. So right here, I'm just lining up the shirt to make sure that the sleeves are even. And as you see, there's a little space right there because they're not even. So you have to go ahead and go and fix that. So right here, I'm just evening up the sleeves a little bit, making them a little shorter, a little more even. Then I'm going to grab the measuring tape and make sure that the shoulders are the same length on each side. Remember, I told you we can't have one shoulder being longer than the other because it will show. Now you're going to do what we call hemming the sleeve, and that's going to make sure that the fabric doesn't tear on the sleeve or anything of the sort. You want a clean look, clean finish. So you're going to fold over once as shown, and then you're going to fold over again twice. So it's going to be 2 folds, and you're going to sew right along that fold. Now that you have done that, you see how I'm putting my hand in between. You're going to only cut one side of the shirt. This is the front of the shirt. So we're going to make the neckline, and I'm thinking of a V-neck because I'm going to show you in the end why, but I chose a V-neck. Remember to only cut one side of the shirt. If you cut both, you're going to have a V-neck in the front and the back of the shirt. Remember, only cut one part. Now this is what you should have when it's done, a nice V-neck. Notice how the back is uncut. Now, to hem the front, we're going to do the same thing that we did for this sleeve, except we're only going to fold it one time. So I'm going to show you what I mean right here. You're going to take that piece of fabric and fold it over one time. Pretty simple. And sew. When you're done sewing, this is what it's going to look like. These buttons are not down yet. Only one of them is, this one right here that I'm playing with, just to show you what we're going to be doing. But yes, this is an eyelet, so we only have one eyelet and the rest is just in place to show you what the gist of this shirt is supposed to be. Okay, so first things first, to place the eyelet in the shirt, you have to create a small little hole that the eyelet is going to go through. So that's what I'm doing right here, and then I'm sizing it up to see if it's big enough, and it's not, so I have to cut it a little bigger. Once I finally get the hole as big or as small as I would like, I place the front half of the eyelet in the first half of the shirt, which is through the top, and then I'm going to take the second piece, the back of it, and I'm going to place that through the back. I kept this in real time so you can see exactly the details of what I'm doing. Now I have an eyelet placed in there, but it's not going to be secure or steady. So now I have to hammer it down. I'm going to use this little tool that came with it, or try to. It doesn't really work for me. I learned that hammering it directly on works best for me. But, to each his own. I say watch a YouTube video on the specific tool that you have and get specific instructions, because that's what I had to do to even put these eyelets on. And it was a hassle, baby. And now I'm going to do the rest. I didn't know whether I wanted to use orange rope or gray, so I used both, but I started with this one just to see how it looked. I'm realizing I messed up big time. These holes are not right across from each other. Therefore, when I put the rope in to create that zigzag type of look going across the chest, it's not going to give me exactly that because the holes are uneven. So in this clip, I added the gray rope to see how it would look, and I'm honestly torn between the two because I really love how they both look, but I think the gray is just giving. But I'm not too sure. Let me know what you think in the comments. Here's the final product. Now, because those eyelets weren't even, the length at which the ropes came out were unequal. So, if you know how to finesse it, you know how to finesse. A girl like me can do whatever with it, but not the results that I expected or wanted. Got to be more careful. Okay, so that was just a quick little tutorial on how to make a shirt. Also, an update on what I've been doing. I just been in the house to myself, focusing on myself, saving my money, or trying to working on a few pieces here and there. You know, nothing crazy, but this is what I've been doing. You feel me? Go ahead and follow, repost, share with a friend. Period. And Kamaya Customs is out of here. Love you. If you want to see more of what I've been up to, you're going to have to follow my Instagram, Kamaya's Customs Boutique, or Shopcase Customs, period.